So, my husband and I have been married. We got married in 2000. And so, at the time I'm making this video, we have been married for almost 21 years. And I was not diagnosed bipolar until we had been married for almost 8 years. And those first 8 years were pretty rough. I remember the first year that we were married, my husband, we had gotten in a fight because I was on a roller coaster. You know, I'd have ups and downs and ups and downs. And he asked me one time, he's like, I just don't understand why you get so upset. He's like, how come you can't just be happy? Nothing's going on. Like, everything is great. Things are great. Life is great. Why are you so sad? Why can't you just be happy? And it was just not knowing what was going on with the ups and downs and ups and downs. I have a lot of energy, and then other times I couldn't get out of bed. And he told me after I was diagnosed, he told me that he never knew when he came home from work what wife he was going to come home to. He never knew if I was going to be happy and energetic or if I was going to be crying in bed and not being able to get out of bed and do anything. And he never knew what he was going to come home to. And so we were married, and we had my oldest son, which actually was from a previous marriage, which that's a story that I'll get into later because that did it was a very abusive relationship, and so that did affect my mental illness also. But we won't talk about this on that video, or on this video. So we were married for 8 years before I was diagnosed. We had my oldest son, who was from my previous marriage, who my husband now adopted him, and then we had three more children before I was diagnosed. And I would go through bouts of suicidal stuff, especially when I was pregnant. I really struggled when I was pregnant with suicidal thoughts. The reason that I didn't attempt any suicides while I was pregnant, even though that was my hardest time with suicidal thoughts, is because if I killed myself, it would also kill the baby. And I felt like that was wrong. And so even though I struggled the most with suicidal thoughts when I was pregnant, I was the least, I didn't plan anything. I just felt more suicidal at those points, but I didn't want to kill the baby. So then when I was pregnant with our fifth child, my doctor, I had changed doctors, and she asked me a lot of questions and really dug into how I was doing and actually paid attention to what was going on. And she diagnosed me with depression to start out with. And so I was on some antidepressants, which helped because my bipolar symptom that helps me, that I really struggle with, is depression. I have the hardest time with the depression. The manic, I can get myself in trouble, but the depression is what really, really affects my life and being able to function. So she put me on an antidepressant, and when somebody with bipolar takes an antidepressant, it can throw them into manic phase and can create more issues on the manic phase. So I was on the antidepressant for a while. I kind of did some things that I wouldn't necessarily have done because I did get a little bit manic. I spent a lot of money that I shouldn't have spent. I kind of made a mess of some things financially. So then when I was pregnant with our sixth child, I had the same doctor, and we were visiting about how things were going, and she asked me a lot of questions, and she diagnosed me. She said, I don't think you just have depression. She said, I think you're actually bipolar. And so she changed my medications around, and I was able to have a much smoother emotional ride once we figured that out, and she changed the medications, and we adjusted those. It took a little while to get those adjusted to where I could function. And then we had our seventh baby, and she's the last one. We're done. We actually have 4 grandbabies now, so that's kind of cool. But because I had a doctor that paid attention to how I was doing, she saved my life. Because I don't think I could have kept going not knowing what was going on with me and not having treatment for it. Because those first 8 years, when I didn't know what was going on, I was suicidal multiple times a year. It was very, very rough. It took a lot of, and I did a lot of different things to try to handle those symptoms, because I didn't want to kill myself. But it just would hit sometimes that my brain would tell me that I would be better off. Everybody would be better off without me. I didn't want to die, but I genuinely thought people would be better without me because I thought I was that horrible of a person. And so, because of that doctor and paying attention to what was going on, she saved my life. I have been able to live a much, much more happy life, joyful life, knowing what is going on and getting treatment for it. And so if you know somebody that is struggling, maybe, visit with them, help them, have them go visit with their doctor to find out what's going on. A lot of times people with bipolar will only talk to people when they're in the depressed state because they don't see an issue with the manic state. The manic state, it's kind of fun. You have a lot of energy, you have a lot of creativity, you feel good, you feel like you can conquer the world. But the problem is when you're not manic anymore, you have to live with the consequences of the decisions you made when you were manic. And so even though it feels awesome and amazing, in the long run, it really makes your life a lot harder. And so trying to stay on that more even keel will make a big, big difference in your happiness and your joy level in your life. And so that's a little bit about my bipolar journey. Maybe you should share yours if you're comfortable. Bye.